Okay, so welcome po sa ACP 4-in-1. And this is Big Picture Focus VLOB. Apply MS Excel functions and commands in auditing payroll transactions and balances. So you do have here the meta language for the ULOB, the payroll audit. So if you say payroll audit, it is an examination of payroll transactions and account balances of payroll expenses such as the salaries and wages, the SSS PhilHealth, the Pag-ibig premium expenses, so yung employer share, and the payroll liabilities which are the salaries and wages payable, the SSS PhilHealth, Pag-ibig premium payable, and the withholding taxes. So the purpose of this payroll audit is to ascertain the amounts of payroll expenses and even the corresponding payroll liabilities. So let's start with the essential knowledge now. So payroll audit. So if you see payroll audit, it is one of the largest expense or largest expense cost amounts in the profit or loss. So thus there is a need to thoroughly audit because of the materiality in the financial statement. So it would affect syempre the income statement part for the expenses and the balance sheet when it comes to its liabilities. So those liabilities such as the SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and the BIR. So the purpose of audit or payroll audit is to ascertain the amounts in payroll expenses and corresponding payroll liabilities. So correct ba? Is the amount of payroll expenses are correct or even the payroll liabilities. So suppose you are to audit payroll of a company with additional information presented below. So you do have here the company policies. So minimum wage rate is 47.5 per hour. The regular hour work is 8 hours. And the overtime rate is 150% of the regular rate. So there are 26 working days in a month. And maximum overtime allowed per month is 12 hours. And the overtime allowed only for a minimum wage earner. So, Pag-ibig deductions is 2% of the total compensation, which is the basic pay and the overtime pay. So, let's start with payroll audit, finding fictitious employee. So, the objective of this procedure is to check if the employee on the payroll are all genuine employee of the company. So let's start with opening the file, payroll record, the Excel file for payroll record. This one. Okay. And then insert payroll or click payroll worksheet, this one. So it was not mentioned that we are to create a copy for this one. So let's create a copy for this one na lang po. For the payroll. So right click, create a copy, and then okay. And then insert column after column B. So after column B, this one, insert column. And then in C1, so 2.4, type name per audit. So type here name per audit. And then 2.5, using the VLOOKUP function, locate the employee name using their employee ID number. So from the employee database. So enter the functions shown below in cell C2, copy and paste the formula. So as you can see, this is the payroll summary for the month. And then based on the payroll summary for the month, you have to compare the payroll or the employee name versus what was actually in the database. Ito. Ayan. So, para sa file 201 ng company. So, this one. So, by using the VLOOKUP function, so equals VLOOKUP. Ayan. So, we're going to use as lookup value the ID number. This one. And then, comma, the next argument is the table array, which is the database here. So, click the database and then highlight from A2 down to E150. And then, comma ulit. The next argument is the column index number. So, in what column ba? Ayan. Sorry. Delete na natin ito. So, in what column is the name of the employee. So, name of the employee is in the second column. That's why you put here number 2. And then comma, the range lookup is the false, which is exact match. Then close. And then don't forget, no? If you're going to copy the formula down to the last column, don't forget to make the table in absolute reference. So the table here is yung database. Double click this one. And then here, put a dollar sign here to make this in absolute reference. F4. And then F4. Then click enter. To copy this one, double click lang the edge, the lower right of the box. So to copy this one to the entire or to the cell. Next one, insert column after column. See. So type the name comparison in cell D1. So in cell D1. So dito. Insert this one. And syempre don't forget to fill this one as a guide, no? That this is actually your audit procedure. Ayan. So what you're going to do in cell D1, name put here name comparison. So using the exact function, so 2.8, compare the name per record and the name per audit. And then enter the function shown below in cell D2 and copy that and paste the formula. So using equals exact, so you're to compare the name per payroll versus the name per database. Then close. So double click the box, yung lower right, to copy the formula down to the last column. And apply filter, so 2.9, apply filter to the table, click data and then filter. So here, apply filter in D1. So click data tab and then click the filter. So what you're going to do, filter column D and show only the cell with the false value. So column D, here, click the drop down arrow and then uncheck the true and then click OK. So as you can see, you do have here the employees who have different names as per payroll versus what was in the database. So what you're going to do next, so 2.11, copy the table and paste it to a new worksheet and then rename it as findings number 6. So copy the entire table. To copy this one, just press Ctrl A and Ctrl C. So create another worksheet and paste it here. So since meron siya error, so what you're going to do, so this is just lacking space. So lacking space, let's maximize the width. Ayan. Column width. And then what we're going to do, rename the sheet number 2 as findings number 6. Ayan. Next one, click payroll worksheet again and remove the 3 records. So here in payroll number 2, remove this one. So highlight and then right click here and then press or choose delete row. Ayan. Then save your work. So don't forget, Ctrl S to save your work. Next one is for the payroll audit limit test. So the objective of this procedure is to check the values, the hours and the rates are within the limit allowed by the or per policy. So first is the number of hours worked. The same previous workbook in the payroll worksheet show all the records. So here, Alt BFS to show all the hidden cells. So insert column after column E. So column E, this one. Right click and then click insert. And then rename F1. Type R limit or R's limit test. So R's limit test. So don't forget to fill this one or change the color. And let's start the procedure. So, using if function, test if the number of working hours did not exceed the 208 hours. So, in cell F2, type the formula shown below and then copy and paste the formula to the rest of the cells below. So, what we're going to do this one using if function. So, type if and then E2, this one. And then, what we're going to do, if this is more than, okay, more than 208, so, comma, the value if it is true, so if it is more than 208, that is findings. Otherwise, comma, for value is false, so it is okay. So, as you can see, the formula here is E2, if, and then E2, less than, more than, more than 208. So, if it's more than, it means to say, finding siya. Kasi dapat, only, it is within 208 hours. Otherwise, this is findings. Since this is findings, if it is more than. Otherwise, it is okay. So, click nyo lang po, enter. And then, double-click the formula, or the box here, yung lower right, yan, yung edge. To copy the formula to the rest of the cells. And then what you're going to do, apply filter in column F and then show records with findings. So, here, ayan, in F1, ayan, so click the drop-down arrow and then look for findings. So, meron siyang findings. So, click nyo lang OK and then click OK. So, here is the findings. So, highlight or select the table and then copy and paste it to a new worksheet and rename it as findings number 7. So, highlight this one, Control A, and then copy, Control C, and create another worksheet. Then, paste this one here. Then, don't forget to maximize the width. And then, rename this one as findings number 7. Next one here is, ito, 3.7. Go back to Payroll Worksheet and show all records. So, go back here. And to show all records, Alt-D-F-S. So, again, press Alt-D-F-S. So, insert column after column G. This one. Here. Right-click and then insert. And then, in each one, type OTRs limit test. So, overtime, hours limit test. So, don't forget to fill this one. Color yellow. Ayan. Okay, so let's proceed to 3.10. Overtime. So, with the same concept, using if function, check if overtime did not exceed 12 hours. So, what we're going to do, copy the formula. Wala palang formula dito. Okay. The same formula here. Okay. So, what we're going to do, the maximum or, yes, amount or maximum hours allowed for overtime is only 12 hours. So, equals if, and then the logical test is this one, the G2, comma, So, if it is more than, okay, so more than pa pala, no, more than 12, comma, if it is more than 12, it is findings. Comma, if it is not more than 12, so it is okay. Okay, so close and then enter. So again, the formula here is if and G2 is more than 12, so 12 hours, it is for findings. Because more than what was actually in the company's policy. So dapat it does not, or the overtime must not exceed 12 hours. So otherwise, if not more than 12, so it is okay. Then press enter. Then copy the formula to the rest of the cells. And then what we're going to do, apply filter in column H and show all records with findings. Apply natin. Here, drop down. And then uncheck OK. Then click OK. So as you can see here, you do have here 3 findings. Ito. Ayan. So what you're going to do, select the table and then copy and paste it to a new worksheet. Rename it as worksheet findings 8. So highlight, Control A, Control C to copy, and create another sheet paste this one here. Don't forget to change this one. Ito. Keep source column with, and then rename this one as findings number. Okay. Next one is the rate. So go back to payroll worksheet and show all records. So payroll here. Then to show all records, Alt D F S. And then insert column after column I. Ito. And then rename this one as rate limit test. So rate limit test. So don't forget to put here or fill this one with color yellow. So using a function, check if the hourly rate did not go down to the minimum rate of 47.5. Ayan. So wala pala sa formula binigay na. So what you're going to do, using a function, check if there is below 47.5, which is the minimum rate per hour. So equals if, and here, check if there is lower. Ayan. So lower 47.5 or 50. Then, if it is true, it is findings. Then, if it is not, it is okay. Ayan. So, if I to this one, the rate, is less than 47.5, which is the minimum rate as per company's policy, so, findings. Otherwise, if not, okay. So, press enter, and then copy the formula. Ayan. And then what you're going to do, apply filter and show only records with findings. So, apply filter here, and then click or uncheck OK, and click OK. So, as you can see, there is a 1. Ayan. Finding. So, copy and paste the findings to a new worksheet. Then rename a new worksheet to findings number 9. So, highlight, Control A, Control C to copy, and then create another worksheet. Then paste it here, Control V. Then, make this or maximize the space, the width, and then rename this one as findings number 9. Okay. Then, don't forget to save your work. Now, for payroll audit hourly rates validity test. So, the objective of this one is, the procedure is to check if hourly rates per computation and per database are exactly the same. The same workbook as previous, go to payroll worksheet and show all records. So here, then to show all records, Alt D F S. And then insert column after column J. So, saan si J? Dito. Right click, then insert. Then rename K2, ayan, key 1, rate per audit. So, rate per audit. So, using VLOOKUP function, locate the hourly rate based on the employee number. So, in cell K2, type the formula shown below. So, type the formula using the VLOOKUP. So, what you're going to do, by using this one, the employee ID number, we're going to look for the rate of the employee. Okay? So, yung rate of the employee per audit. So, where's the database here? This one. So, using the employee number, we're going to look for the hourly rate. So, go back to find payroll 2. Here, equals VLOOKUP. And then the lookup value is the ID number, A2, comma, and then the table array is the database. So, highlight the table here from E2 down to E150. Then, comma ulit, column index number. So, in what column is the rate? So, the rate here is in 4th column. So, 4. Then, comma. Then, exact match. Then, close. Okay, so this one. So, double click here to copy. And then, what's next? Copy and paste the formula. Insert column after column K. So, insert column here. Right click, insert. And then, rate validity test. And by using exact function, we are to compare the rate per payroll, summary, and rate per audit. So in cell L2, copy the formula below. So by using exact, equals exact. So we are to compare the rate per payroll summary, comma, and the rate per audit. Then close. Okay, so copy the formula. Then what's next? Apply filter in column L and show only those cells contain false return value. Since there is no false return value, proceed to the next step. So, wala ba? Na-check natin. So, walang false. So, okay lahat. So, payroll audit, overtime, validity test. So, overtime. To see workbook previews, go to Payroll Worksheet and show all records. So, let's try overtime naman. So, insert column after column L. Right-click here, and then enter. Then, using a function, check if the overtime is only allowed to employees whose rate is 47.5 per company's policy. So, in cell M2, type the formula. So, employees who has a minimum rate of 47.5 are allowed to have overtime or to take overtime. So, what we're going to do here, type this one. Ano pala ilagay dito? And this is column L. Hindi nakalagay na. Ito, overtime validity test. So, overtime validity test. Okay. Tarong spelling. Ayan. So, using the formula, if J2, this one, where's J2 here? Ano dito? I2, sorry. The rate. Ayan. So, if the rate here, okay, is more than 47.5. So, if it is more than, comma, check if there are overtime hours. So, if, again, this one, G2, is more than 0, so syempre that is a findings. Why? It's because, since if it is more than 47.5, dapat wala siyang content dito sa G2. Kasi not allowed for overtime hours. Otherwise, okay. And then, close, comma uli. Then, next is for the first argument. Okay, so dalawang argument dito. Dalawang if. Then, press enter. So, copy the formula. Double-click this one. And then, what's next? Copy and paste. Apply filter and show records with findings. So, apply filter here. Uncheck OK, then click OK. Okay, merong findings. Tatlo. So, copy and paste the findings to a new worksheet and rename this one as findings number 10. So, highlight, Control A, then Control C to copy, and then create a new worksheet, then Control V to paste it here, and then rename this one as findings number 10. Okay. So, let's have payroll audit recomputation. So, the objective of this procedure is to check if the overtime allowed minimum wage earner, and then when it comes to correct or accurate as to its computation. So, let's start with compensation. So, same workbook. Here, payroll number 2. Then, show all records. So, Alt, D, F, S. So, in column after, insert column after column N. Here in basic. Ayan. So, insert column here. And then, rename this one as basic paper audit. Ayan. And don't forget to change the color to specify the audit procedure. And then, in cell O2, multiply the hours work regular and the rate per audit. And then, copy and paste the formula to the rest of the cell. So, what we're going to do, multiply to complete for the basic paper audit. So, the equals number of hours Asan yung number of hours? Ayan. Ito. Hours work regular multiplied by the rate per audit. I'm sorry, this one. So, you asterisk. And then, rate per audit. This one. Then, press enter. And copy the formula to the rest of the cells. And what's next? Insert column after column O. Right-click here. And then, insert. And this is, what's this? Basic pay comparison. Ayan, basic pay comparison. Okay. So you are to compare now the basic pay per payroll summary versus the basic pay per audit. So equals exact and basic pay per payroll, comma, basic pay per audit. And then close. And copy the formula, the rest of the cells. And then check if there are cells containing false, then return value. Check natin meron bang false. So walang false, so okay, walang problema. So using the same concept, recompute the overtime pays. The formula of computing the overtime is overtime hours multiplied by the rate multiplied by 150. Ayan. So same overtime. So in this case, we are going to insert two columns here. So highlight two column and then click insert. So here, this is overtime pay per audit. And here in S1, overtime pay comparison. Alright, so don't forget to change the color here. This should be color yellow. And compute for the overtime pay. So the overtime pay is equals to the number of hours, overtime hours, which is ito. No, this one. So G2, the hours worked overtime multiplied by asterisk the rate per audit. And then multiplied by 150. Okay, so 1.5. So bakit siya multiplied by 1.5? Kasi nga overtime. So overtime is 150% of the rate. So press enter. And then don't forget, ayan, to double click this one to copy the formula. And then let's compare. So equals exact. Compare overtime per payroll summary, comma, and then overtime per or overtime pay per audit. Then close. So through, copy the formula and check if there are findings. So walang findings. Click lang okay. Next is the total income. Next ba yung total income? Alright, so total income, recompute total income using the same procedure. Then the formula for total income is the basic pay per audit plus the overtime pay per audit. The same procedure pa rin, no? Insert two columns here. And then, rename U1 to total income per audit. And in V1, total income comparison. Don't forget to highlight this one, color yellow. And then, total income per audit is equals to the total basic pay per audit plus the total overtime pay per audit. So, yung O2 at saka R2. And then, copy the formula. And total income comparison using exact. So, equals exact. Then, compare total income per summary, which is T2, comma, and then total income per audit, which is U2. And then, close. Siyempre, copy the formula. Ayan. And let's check if there are findings. So, walang false. So, okay, walang problema. Ayan. So, save your work. Next is deductions. Ayan. So, yung mandatory deductions here plus the income tax. So, SSP, Health, Pag-ibig, and the income tax. So, let's start with the SSS. So, insert column after column W. Ayan. Ayan. Tama. Column W. And then, in cell X1, type SSS per audit. And then, don't forget to highlight this one. Change the color. And what we're going to do, by using VLOOKUP, look for or locate the SSS rate. Ayan. So, yung SSS rate. So, asan ba yung SSS rate? Ito, SSS table. So, this is the old table for SSS. Okay? So, assist lang ito, no? Old table pa rin yung gagamitin natin. So, what you're going to do, using VLOOKUP, locate the SSS rate. So, using this formula. So, balik dito sa payroll 2. So, equals VLOOKUP. Then, the lookup value is siyempre the total income per audit. Ayan. So, the basis for SSS is total income per audit. Comma, the table. SSS table. Highlight here from E4 down to C34. And then, comma, the column index numbers. In what column index numbers the employee share? So, this is employee share, column number 3. Comma, false for the exact match. No. We are not using false. No? Kasi CCC is based on approximate. So, the range here, siyempre, meron siyang range between, and that will be the employee share. So, since it's based on range, we will not use the false as the range lookup. But instead, we are going to make use of the true as approximate match. And then, close. Then, press enter. Okay, so copy the formula here. Before to copy pala, yan, don't forget, double click, and change this one. Since this is table, fix na yung table. So what you're going to do, make it in absolute reference. So F4, and then F4. Then press enter. Then double click. Yeah. So what you're going to do next, copy, then paste the formula, and insert column after column X again, here. And then, in Y1, type SSS comparison. So, SSS comparison here, ito, you are to compare the SSS per payroll summary versus the SSS per audit. So, you see, exact pa rin. So, W2 for the SSS per payroll summary, comma, and X2 for payroll SSS per audit. Ayan, then close. Then copy the formula. And then what's next? Okay. 6.19, apply filter on SSS computation and show only cells that contains false return value. So here, in Y1, click the drop-down button or drop-down arrow, then uncheck the true, no? So merong findings pala, kasi merong false, then click OK. You do have here the finding. Yeah. So, copy and paste the findings to a new worksheet, rename a new worksheet to findings number 11. So, copy, first is highlight, Control A, then Control C, create another worksheet, and then Control V. Yan, so balik-balik lang. Then, the column mid, and don't forget to use this one as findings number 11. Okay. So, balik sa payroll worksheet, here, payroll. And then, using the same procedure, recompute the field health using VLOOKUP pa rin. So, Alt DFS muna to show all the cells. So, insert column after column Z. So, dalawa na. Insert. And the first one, AA1, is field health. Okay, field health per audit. And here, field health. Okay. Comparison. Ayan, so field comparison. So don't forget to highlight this one. No? Change the color. Ito, color yellow. So using field health per audit, we're going to look for the field health employee share using the field health table. So equals VLOOKUP. And the lookup value is the total income per audit, which is U2. And comma, table array, which is this one, the field health table. Ito. So, highlight the table from E3 down to C30. And then comma, the column index is what column is the employee share. So, here, column number 3. And then comma ulit, since this is range, based on approximate, so we are going to make use of true as the range lookup. And then close. And then press enter. Okay. So before you are to copy this one to the cells below, so don't forget to change the table into absolute reference. So dapat naka-absolute reference yung table. So what you're going to do, press F4 to put a $sign, F4 ulit, and then enter. So don't forget to So don't forget to double click this one to copy the formula down to the last column. And then compare. So equals exact. Compare this one, Z1, Z2, and then AA2. Then close. Then copy the formula. Then check if there are false. So merong false, merong findings. So uncheck true. Then click OK. Ayan. So what's next? Copy and paste the findings to a new worksheet and rename the new worksheet as findings number 12. So copy, Control A muna, then Control C. Then create another worksheet and then Control V to paste. Then change this one. Ito. And rename this one as findings number 12. Okay. And for pag-ibig deductions, insert column after column AC. So payroll here, balik uli. So we're done with the SSS, the PhilHealth. The next one is the pag-ibig. So pag-ibig, yan, kino-compute pala siya. So don't forget, Alt BFS to show all the unhide or hidden tests. So insert 2 columns here. And rename this one. The first one is yung pag-ibig per audit. Ayan. And the next one is yung pag-ibig per pag-ibig comparison. And highlight this one. Change the color. Ayan. So let's start. Sorry. Alright. So, pag-ibig is based on percentage. So, the percentage is 2% of the total compensation. So, equals, and here, and then the total compensation, total income per audit, then multiplied by 2%, so 0.02. Then press enter. Okay, so again, U2 is the total income per audit, multiplied by 0.02, 2% as employee share, then press enter, and then copy the formula, and then compare. So equals exact. Compare pag-ibig year per payroll, comma, and pag-ibig per audit. Then close. And then press enter. Okay. And then what we're going to do next, syempre, check if there are findings. So I think wala siyang findings. Just click OK. Yun nga, compare pag-ibig summary, compute for, check if there are false return values, wala. If there are none, proceed to the next step. The next step is the deductions, total deductions per audit. So we will not compare anymore this one income tax as per process dito. Ayan. So assuming na income tax is already correct here. So what you're going to do is you're going to compute for the total deductions per audit. So 6.30, compute for total deductions per audit, insert column after column AF. Here. Yeah. And then in cell AG1, type, total deductions per audit. So total deductions per audit. Okay. So what you're going to do, in cell AG2, add assessors per audit, PhilHealth, pag-ibig, and income tax. So you're going to add all. Okay, so don't forget muna to highlight this one, change the color for yellow, and then add all the mandatory deductions. So SSS plus PhilHealth plus pag-ibig, then plus the income tax. Okay, so we do have here the total deductions per audit. So X2 plus AA2 plus AB2 plus AF2. Then copy the formula here. Then what's next? 6.34, the last step is to recompute the net pay. So in cell AI1, type take home pay per audit. So here, ito. So take home pay per audit. Ayan. So to get take home pay per audit, just subtract one doon. Highlight, use this one, color, and then take home pay per audit, subtract the total income per audit, ito, and the total deductions per audit. So equals total income per audit, so assign ka na total income per audit. Ayan. So U2 minus AG2. Then press enter. And then copy the formula, the rest of the yes. Ayan. So next is compare the take-home pay per summary and take-home pay per audit using the exact function. So in AG1 here, so take-home pay comparison. Ayan. So what you're going to do, you're to, before that one, don't forget mo to make this in color yellow. So compare equals the take-home pay, so per audit, at saka yung take-home pay per payroll. So exact take-home pay, AH2, comma, take-home pay per audit, then close. And then, copy the formula to the rest of the cells, double-click this one. And what's next? So apply filter and take-home pay comparison and show only cells that contains false return value. So here, take-home pay comparison, apply filter. So to apply filter, click data tab, then click the filter, and once again, click again data, and then click again the filter. So let's check if there are findings or false. So click the drop down arrow, and then, ayan, meron false. So there are findings. So uncheck the true, and then click OK. You do have your false value. Ang dami nila expected kasi merong findings sa pag-ibig at saka dun sa SSS. So what we're going to do next, copy and paste the findings to a new worksheet and rename the new worksheet as findings number 30. So highlight, Control A, then Control C to copy, and then create another worksheet, then paste this one here, Control V, and then click this one, Control, and then click keep source column with, and then rename this one as findings number 20. Ayan. So we're done. Ayan. These are the sources from Sir Sukwahi. And thank you very much for listening. Goodbye po and God bless.